Welcome, Homeworthy. My name is Nick Pourfard. I'm a designer in San Diego, California, and this is my house. Come in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
My name is Nick Pourfard. I'm a furniture designer based in San Diego, and welcome to my home. I was just looking at houses in this area, and this area has a lot of land and things, and I wasn't expecting to move here, but when I saw it, I couldn't stop thinking about it at all. And I was obsessing over it, and I don't think anyone that came to see this house had a love for it in the same way that I did, and the family noticed that. This house is architecturally significant. The architect is Walter S. White. I believe this is potentially the last home he's ever done. I've been restoring this now for 4 years, and you can see that it looks like it may be from the 50s, but it's actually from the 80s. So material choices are shifted a little bit more modernized. So Walter S. White was notably environmentally conscious, and he also played with a lot of roof lines. So he has a famous house in Palm Springs called the Wave House that actually has this kind of wave look. And here we have a butterfly roof, so it's very Japanese looking. And something he did to contribute to that environmental architecture aspect is he has mirrors on every window of the house, so it stays really cool in this house. And it's semi-subterranean, so it stays even cooler. So direction of light, the mirrors, everything, this house is just kind of built to be in this area. Something that's really unique to this house is the floor and ceiling. He uses a 2x6 that he's had custom milled into this tongue and groove shape, and that allows for that butterfly shape to happen. And that is for also the floor. So the floor is actually the ceiling of the downstairs. So there's no hiding points or anything for your pipes or your electrical or anything like that. So you had to get really, really crafty and where you hide those water pipes and electrical wires, and even this is a dual AC, so where you hide all of those kind of utility things, they're all hiding in what I call the brain, which is this beam that's floating through the house, which for me, as someone who's restoring this house personally, it's become really easy to see how it all works, because I can take a step up and look into the brain, the beam, and then see, well, this does this, and this does this, and this goes here, and this goes here, and it makes everything incredibly easy as I move forward with this. So this is the living room. I think that as my work progresses, the things in this room will shift a lot. I'm not really thinking that the house is permanently styled in any way. I move things around, all the time if new things come in, or if I have another idea, and if I make another table, maybe we'll get rid of this other one, right? So it's that's the way I've been living in the space. And I'll even sell things off the floor. So if people come here and they really like it, they can, you feel free, you could just take it. And I've done that so many times. So this is the first chair I ever made, kind of my first experience doing mortise and tenon type of through joinery. I love rare plants, and I'm you'll see that as we move through the space, that I have a lot of cool caudiciforms, plants from Africa, plants from Australia, and it's just really, really a fun passion for me to maintain them and bonsai them and things like that. This is a guitar that I made, and so this is my company, Prisma Guitars. That's kind of the origin of me professionally building things, and that's the preface to my design, my furniture design and lighting stint that I'm having now. So we have pieces from friends here too. My buddy Steven Hartzog, he did these. What's really cool about this piece that he did is he's actually not modifying these pieces at all. He's going into the dumpster of a local wood shop, and he's just finding these pieces and puzzling them together until he's created something he's pleased with. So that's really what I like about his work. He's like a really good problem solver, So and I think he's really come up with something interesting. It's the perfect chair to play guitar on. So I'm in here playing guitar and rocking back and forth. This is my box chair. That's what I call it because it is equal dimension in every way. And there's something that I've focused on within my furniture pieces is kind of this articulating backrest. And I mentioned that I kind of gravitate towards a reason to touch the piece or something that forms to your body, or like, I don't know, or ergonomics. That's not really specific to me, but I just like when something's like invited you to touch it. And then like as with this is my best seller. It's the mushroom lamp. And basically this can get, tilted every which way. This house, when I moved in, it was so warm with like this wooden glow, which felt really good, but also kind of like eared on feeling cabiny. So it's like, how do you bring that out? And I think by like neutralizing this with the big rugs and having this like a lot of white, but then like kind of this thoughtful pop of color with the red or the green and things like that. You need to do stuff like that, I think. It kind of makes it feel now less cabiny and more, I guess, California. This is a new thing that I'm working on. This is also ceramic. It's obviously a clock, but it's a ceramic dial face with earth-casted pewter hands and pendulum. And then the dial numbers are bismuth. And I don't know, sometimes like just exploration leads to these things. Like I just kind of wanted to see if it was possible, and happy accidents like with mixing metal and ceramic, I decided to move forward with this. And then this is my loop table, and I have on top of it the blueprints that are actually hand-drawn here by Walter White for the original owner, who just passed, and he was 100 years old. This neighborhood was an avocado grove, and we're in the avocado capital of the world right now. And it's just so interesting to see the actual plans. I mean, people don't do this anymore. You're not going to get a hand-drawn blueprint. This is that butterfly roof that we're getting, and it's just so beautiful. And these are those mirrored, the mirrored glass, and we have that also on the patio here. These are all mirrors, so reflecting the sunlight, because it is so hot here. This is that custom milled tongue and groove. That is the ceiling, and it's how we're achieving that roof shape, but it's also the floor that we're standing on right now, which is the ceiling of the downstairs. So just one more brief touch. This is something that I like. It's an older piece by Stan Bitters. He's a ceramicist in Fresno. So this is the, I think, formal dining room, but I actually use it as kind of just this like breatheway space because I naturally bring a lot of things home from my workshop that I don't know what to do with. And this area changes nonstop. As I mentioned, I'm inspired by a lot of Japanese woodworking and things like that, and I want to kind of like figure out my own way around it. I chose cherry to kind of stay in the theme. It's sort of like my version of like wood origami. I'm not like steam bending these or anything. There's no lamination. It's just like joinery and kind of like almost if you were to like, yeah, like truly, you know, cut paper or something and then bend it out. And you can see it a lot more in this lamp and this bench. So this is a lamp in the same style. So if I were to remove these lights, the whole piece would just collapse. So they have this like symbiotic relationship with each other. They need each other to stand and to work, you know? So this is just a plank of wood, essentially, otherwise, you know? But it's just tension based. So it's all tension and bent wood exploration. Now this is like my favorite piece, but it's subtle, so you kind of have to see. This piece of wood is cut on both ways, and it's bent out in opposite directions, allowing the bench to stand. But in reality, like, again, like if I removed this from the legs, it would just fold back into itself because wood holds a memory, and that memory wants to go back to being straight. So that tension has some strength, which I'm playing into, but it really is just, I don't know, one of my favorite things that we've done, and I really want to keep going into this concept. I think this could become dressers and dining tables and everything. There's a lot to be explored still. And I love a lot of rocks and stuff. You'll see I do something that I find, as you'll see through the space, that is sort of not normal. I put a lot of stuff on the floor. Like you'll find there's like rocks and things on the floor. Well, this is not a rock. This is actually Alex Reed. He's a ceramicist in LA. And this is a rock, but he tiled the rock. So I'm just like really interested in these really heavy grounded objects that kind of can just be kind of placed around the floor and kind of make you feel like more like, I don't know, like not everything needs to be so like elevated in this like literal way. Like this is still very much like an art piece that's here. So there's just a couple other things in the space that I wanted to highlight. This is Yuki Gray. You know, we've never had the chance to formally meet in person, but we've gotten to know each other on the internet. And he built this chair, and it's so beautiful. And it literally, it does work. It's not just for looks. And it's just such a good idea, showing like how the multiple points can hold that strength. This textile work is, again, another internet friend, textile designer, artist, Claire Hugh. I love her work too, and my dad is a Persian rug dealer, and I grew up around textiles, and I don't know, I think her work is really unique for like, you know, even for me, seeing this stuff my whole life. I'm not gonna act like I changed this house like super significantly from the first time I saw it, but I did update a lot of the details. So I redid all the drywall to be smooth. There was a lot of like weird things in updates that happened like without consideration towards like the original architecture. So I kind of removed all that stuff, and then I think like focused more on like shifting things like formica and carpet and things like that to being like more contemporary. but like still considering the original architecture. So for example, in the kitchen, I've done a lot of remodeling in the actual cabinet layout, but also refinishing all the wood, refaced all the doors, you know, going for a more minimal type of clean handle layout, and updating appliances and things, obviously, but then like letting tile work like color pop harder and bring us back more into that kind of mid-century style. So I'm gonna take you guys to the dining room here. We have this temporary table here. I'm working on a really cool four-seater table based off of some cactus I have in my garden. And you know, I'm just a few days away from bringing that in. This is a light by a friend, Bennett Schellinger. He does do other things too, but it's just so cool to meet all these people. You know, as you go to these art shows and meet or show in galleries and stuff, and just kind of getting to know everybody. It's everybody's so talented, you know. This is essentially Guapo, I think, is accurate representation of him. This is an object as well that I found in Paris with my girlfriend. It's so odd. It's a thermometer, and it's just like glued together, and I don't know, it's one of my most favorite things that I have, and I can't explain it. But it will always have a prominent place. I wanted to talk about the ceiling here. So this is like exactly what we were talking about. You can see it start to curve out. That's because of that tongue and groove connection. So without that, like obviously it wouldn't be seated in each other as well. And that same thing's happening on the ground here that we're standing on. So if I bring you downstairs, you'll see that this same thing is going on downstairs. But there's no place to hide those wires, everything. This is like, this has to exist because there's no way, there's no place for this type of stuff to exist. So like, that's the brain, that's where all that stuff exists. That's where the venting from the stove goes and all of that. So architecturally, like, this house is also built like really simply for how complex it looks. Like the roof is complex, the floor is complex, that's a given. But this house is just like in quadrants on steel posts. So these like steel things going up, you'll see them continue on the way down, and that makes the house stand all on its own, and that's just really, you know, the beauty of it. So the dining room basically just goes right into the kitchen right here. So it's really close. And we kind of have a circle floor plan, if you've noticed. So we're basically just walking in a giant circle around what is these cabinets and the staircase. So it's really open. The whole feeling in here is kind of like you can do loops. Like I do it when he has the zoomies. We're running around, what is this? And we're chasing each other. It's really fun that there's no block on this maze. So we have these chairs that I've been doing. These backrest swivel as well, and they're a lot more comfortable with that. So ergonomically it helps. And in here is probably where I've done the most work, surprisingly. This may look like it's just been like this forever, but this is all kind of redone off of the like bones of it. So they're all refaced cabinets. I've omitted a lot of cabinets here. This was all closed, so now we've opened it. You know, I have a sconce that I've been prototyping here. I'm calling this the bouquet sconce. That's what I'm running with for now. We'll see, but that's the first one. And You know, we have these like sliders with all our like little knickknacks inside. From here, the kitchen, we get to the end of the loop. So that's the loop I'm referring to. That's the staircase, and this whole house is just basically one giant block right here. And the only other room up here is the primary bedroom. And then downstairs is its own thing, but it's all super open. Right here we have something I got from Bob Matheny's estate. He's an old friend of you know, many artists you've heard of, probably John Baldessari and Miriam Shapiro and all these people. He was just a teacher here in San Diego, and he passed, and he had so many cool oddities in his house, and I'm so grateful that I was able to know about that and go there and find some stuff. So this is a painter, Zach White. He's also showing in some galleries that I'm also in, so it's really cool to just, again, meet these people in the space. And this is a painting by my friend Trent Rivas, and he's actually tattooed me a bunch of times, and he's just, it's so interesting to me, and everybody pauses on this. It's just perfect for like right when you walk in. And it even has this like cool textures, you know, and this like, what I'm assuming is from like a USPS type of thing, or postal, I don't know, that's what I'm getting off of that, but I don't know, it's really cool, and it definitely reminds me of him. This is the primary bedroom. This is where me and Guapo sleep, and we have some prototypes here that I've been working on. We'll see if I revisit them. We have a painting by my friend Ben Day Todd. He's also an amazing musician, going by Lonesome Shack, and you know, a smaller version of my mushroom. And I just feel really like zen in this space, honestly, like with the plants and everything. Like I really love to you know, just kind of like, again, garden and do everything. So having a little bit of that in the space with me, even at night and stuff, like it feels really good for me. And just little oddities and rocks and things that I've found over the years. So right here we have even a chair by a friend of mine, Evan Lopez, and it's all ceramic, super cool. Again, another Stan Bitters, who did the end table in the living room, another Stan Bitters pot, and he has called the thumb pot, and those are his thumbprints that he's pushing into there. And then, of course, you got to have your child's chair version. So this is like just a weird end table for me at the moment. You know, we'll see if one day I get a bed frame in here and things like that, but I kind of like the informality of all of this. So the way I got into designing furniture and lighting and these types of things kind of goes back further to me being a skater and building skate ramps and all this stuff. And I'm just with my friends kind of, at the time, San Diego didn't have very many skate parks, and I was learning how to woodwork kind of via building these like ramps for me and my friends. And then as that progressed, I wanted to get more into like traditional woodworking, so I started teaching myself even more and how to make spoons or cutting boards and things like this. And I kind of like fell into this idea as a guitar player that I would love to build a guitar for myself, because when I went to look at guitars I wanted to buy, I wasn't intrigued with many, and I wanted it to feel sentimental. Like that's the best part about making your own stuff, is it feels like a part of you. So I actually decided to attempt to make these guitars out of old skateboards, my brother's and mine skateboards, my friend's skateboards. This is like a way to give it new life, and I started doing that and it went viral. So I've now built like around 300 guitars, and they're not all out of skateboards, but you know, that was definitely what kind of caught on in the beginning. Maybe around like 7 or 8 years ago, I started building furniture for myself, like chairs for my home and playing around with like little weekend projects. And maybe around 5 years ago, I decided, hey, these are really good. I should probably sell these too. So I went ahead and started photographing them more professionally and talking about it more. I just told myself I really want to, do both of these things. Next thing you know, the furniture thing has caught on even more so than the guitars at this point. I think when I'm starting a design, I like to start with the material, and then I move on to the form. And a lot of times what influences the form is, one, my capacity of tooling and knowledge of the material, and two is kind of like, how can I really make this as like simple as possible while saying the most that it possibly can. Now we're gonna go downstairs and I want to show you kind of all the changes that I've made down here. There's little things that I did down here that I think have added a kind of architectural feeling to the space, because it kind of felt when I got this house that it departed. It's so architectural in the top floor, and it just departs that feeling a little bit when you enter the downstairs. So I did this kind of Judd-esque like type of cabinet thing. This was just a blanket closet, which now it's just kind of a display case. These are sconces by my friend Emily Thurman. That's all thin porcelain. You're seeing like this glowed illumination here, and just like that, this just dangles here. I mean, she's really so talented. I think that this is the perfect thing for this space. Just kind of feels like it is one of these oddities in itself. And then if you keep moving this way, we kind of have like what I call the study and library, I guess. There's so many things to look at here. It's hard for me to even pick one to show you. I mean, this is a light that I did called the pillow mirror. So it's actually a chromed piece of aluminum just shoved into a molten piece of glass. And just like, I don't know, there's a million things like toys. When I was in school, I studied toy design, and that's been a huge thing for me, just for fun. I even have my first iPod that I ever had, and I looked at it and I was like, what do you do with this? Like, don't want to throw it away, So boom, just throw it in this. Now it's a bookend. So I don't know, just like kind of fun stuff. There's like a little painting that I bought from some kid on the street, but like, I don't know, this is the place where you don't take it too serious. You got your old Mac, I guess I'm branding a lot of Apple here, but like we're just finding things and finding beauty in random stuff, whether it's like from nature or like, this beehive thing or other stuff, like, and just no rules. This is the no rules spot. And that's what I give myself, like, right? And then if you look at this, we have more of those chairs that I do. And these are actually the first ones I ever did. And yeah, so they do stack as well. So that's something that's really cool about these. So this study goes right into this living room, and you can see those quadrants that I'm talking about. So like that first post is here, and so every room is a square. So we had this, this is like the TV room, I guess, but this room is subterranean. So again, we're in an area that's 100 degrees pretty much all the time. It's pretty brutal. It's dry, hot heat, and it's so cold in here. It's so cold in here, and it's because of the architecture. And it's the perfect place to just, and it's kind of dark too. So it's kind of like, I like played into the darkness. It's like, this is the movie place, So it's really fun to just like get a bunch of snacks, and just chill out here. Here again is, just fun little things like, what is this? This is just a design exercise I did with a friend of mine where I just said, hey, I'll do a bend, and then you do a bend, and then don't tell me what you're gonna do, and like, or whatever. And we didn't really have any thought on it. Is it that cool? I don't know, but I think about him, so that stuff matters. This is like another piece that I did. So these are just blown bulbs, This is about that articulation again in design, or like, is there a reason to touch this? No, but when you see how easy this all just goes together and the delicate balance of it all between the steel and the glass, it's like, it really feels powerful. So this is like considered like the sewing room or like a garage essentially. Like we don't have a formal garage here. So this is what I want to do with it. I kind of make it into my jam space. Like I obviously play guitar. I've been building guitars for the last, 10, 15 years. So I feel like I need to be loud. I need to play. And I have, a whole bunch of instruments that I've made. I even built this drum set. And we have our acoustic paneling. So again, this is just a cinder block wall, but that's not very, it doesn't sound good. So we had to do this kind of treatment to the wall, and I just wanted to make it look kind of similar to the architecture of the house. So I kind of did this little Japanese-y grid of the acoustic foam. So from the jam room, you come right into the workshop, and this is kind of how I get everything done. I have another shop, obviously, for making my pieces, but sometimes you got to do stuff on site, and I just needed something on site to get stuff done. So that's kind of what I've done. I put secondhand tools in here that I maybe upgraded or bought stuff that I needed extras, and I've just kind of been able to do things here. I have a beehive on the property, and we just filled this entire thing with honey, so this is all the wax and that. So that's fun, like this garden thing really is, symbiotic. You got to have the bees, you got to have, all the critters and the bugs, like all that stuff makes sense. So it's important to me. Here we have a robot. This cuts all the guitars out, actually. I used to do it all by hand, but now I have it here. So, we can cut a guitar out while I'm watching TV, while I'm making food. It's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I guess when I think of the word home, my first feeling is just peace. And when I think of peace, I just think of the garden. I spend way more time outside of this house in the garden than I do in this house. And that's for one reason. It's because I think that's the only moment that I'm completely relaxed. This is really fun actually, because this is the cross section of the roof. This was extra pieces of the roof that I had, and I managed to make this dining set just with it, and I'm so happy that I did. For the longest time, I was just moving it around, thinking, why am I keeping this? And I'm so happy I just decided to just really think about it, because now we have this like kind of ode to the architecture in the new furniture, like breathing a new life. And I love that it has like all the wear and tear of, the nails, we just hammered them in and stuff like that. I wasn't gonna try and sand it and make it nice. Like, this is a storytelling piece of the whole property, this table. The garden is what I think of, and I think of peace when I think of home. This is kind of like where it starts, right? When you walk outside, I've got this like Zen garden thing that I've been working on. I've been really crafty throughout all of this process, and I've probably spent, thousands of hours back here with a shovel and everything, like doing all of this. I moved pretty much all the rocks into this property with my own wheelbarrow or bobcat or whatever. And I've done, you know, a lot of plant editing and adding too, and it's come really close to where I'm happy with it, but it's a forever job. So I just want to show you, I mean, we have, you know, this plant in training, you know, it's getting wire trained right now, and you know, this will kind of become like all together a showpiece. We have a lot of bees right here coming to get a drink. So we've created like a whole ecosystem here. And it's so funny, like there's so many animals and frogs that come here to drink, and it's like, where did they come from? You know, I don't even know. They just naturally find it all. So as you move through this space, you could see there's these gray rocks. These are actually recycled headstones. That's the scraps from a headstone manufacturer that I was able to just like reuse here, and they just throw that stuff away. So it's a, you know, like a lot of really cool old plants. You know, this thing is just gonna get so fat and so big. And you know, I've been doing this now for 4.5 years, 2 acres of property. This needed the most work. It was all dirt. Everything was dirt. There was a select group of large trees here, but other than that, you know, it was just dirt. And you'll see as we continue how that looks. I have maybe 100 types of fruit here. This is probably the rarest, and it's completely loaded. So I'm gonna pick some now and show you. So these are jabuticabas. They're like a Brazilian grape, and I'm not even kidding. They taste exactly like grape juice mixed with condensed milk. So, I mean, look at, that's probably not the best thing on camera, but it's so good. It takes 25 years to fruit. So I was lucky enough to find one from a seller that was fast forwarded. And it's been in the ground now for like 3 years. This is really cool to highlight, I think, because this is a sculpture I made with my friend Mike Upton, another designer, and we poured all of these pieces in the ground right here. So we basically, before this was all done, we casted these in the earth and we just erected it. And then I've kind of, you know, polished it and made it into this totem with him. And we've, you know, you'll see a couple of these as we walk down as well. And these like do spin and stuff. So it's fun to, you know, there's no limit to like, you know, like not everything needs to be functional, you know, like for me, like in my craft, like I can find some fun with my friends and like making things like this too. Again, another Stan Bitter's birdhouse. And yeah, so all of this didn't exist. And these are all propped up again with those headstone remnants. This piece of wood right here is the tree that I ziplined on when I was a kid. I've carried this with me for 15 years. And I was able to use every piece of it on this property. So I have about 6 or 7 slabs here, and I've installed them in different areas. And yeah, I mean, that's such a fun thing for me to think that I carried this with me this whole time. I had so much fun with this tree as a kid. And at the moment that it was passed, like, it now comes with me to this new house. So it's always gonna be here. And we have kind of a lounge zone, and then just sprinkled throughout a bunch of fruit. We got mangoes, lychees, star fruit, guavas, longans, avocados, peaches, like everything. Cherries. I mean, if it grows in San Diego, I'll plant it, basically. I'm kind of a completionist in that way, and I really, really want to see all of this stuff just grow. And I've started to reap those benefits in the last couple of years and pick a lot of fruit for myself, and I just know it's just gonna get better and better. This tree is going to be, I think, like the biggest stunner of a tree, and we have another sculpture. That's a brachychiton bottle tree. You see a lot of those in people's houses nowadays, but in the ground, those can get like 12, 15 feet wide at the base, and they grow that wide while staying pretty small. So it's a really fun way that they save water. Again, everything was just dirt, you know, like we have a cactus here from all over the world, from Yemen, from Mexico. We have bulbs that are African. It's so cool to see how well all this stuff is doing. And it's better that like we're planting this type of stuff that grows so well in this like super hot climate that I have. And we got our fruit orchard here. And as you walk down, we have like this kind of extension of that desert garden. So we're walking through this lower orchard, which is like mostly subtropical and tropical fruits. And I saw this morning. Gotcha. We're kind of in a dangerous zone right here, but these are so good. And if you just rip these open, you can take them out like just like a snowball and just eat that whole thing. It's kind of like a dragon fruit, super slimy, but they're so good. And when it's hot out, this is kind of like having a popsicle. I'm not even kidding. So it's perfect. Like when I'm out here working all day, this is like my electrolytes and my water and everything. And I just take a little break and sit in the shade. They're so good. So after you pick all your fruit and stuff, this is just the perfect place to just sit and think and get that peace that we were talking about. Like, I can't wait to just see all this stuff just get bigger and just sit here and just be the audience for it. It's just everything, honestly. The general feeling I want people to have when they walk in is that they're kind of in this like oddities type of place while like looking at my studio work, but then also like the friends that I've met in this field, I have a lot of their work, and I just think for people that are interested in that, it's gonna be really enticing to just keep going to the next room. I think the thing that makes the home come alive the most is those smaller personal touches that aren't like picture perfect. If everything was immaculate, it would be really boring. I think that some of my favorite art and paintings like literally make no sense, and I think that that's the best way to think about your home as well. It's just to make it make sense until it literally doesn't, and then that's finished.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.